Hello and welcome to Intelligentlemen, a show about the journey in life that we call manhood. And I am your host, Milt Walker. But first, I want to take some time out to thank my fans and supporters for the awesome response I've been receiving for my podcast, all the likes and shares on Facebook. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I hope the universe blesses you with so much positivity that it overflows off into your life and into other people's lives. And thank you again. This is episode 3. And we're going to be talking about expression, a man's expression and how that defines manhood. So thank you again for tuning in, and I hope that you enjoy it, and I'll see you out there. Expression for a man. Welcome to episode 3, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I know that a lot of people think that when you become a man that you do less to express certain things like emotions. And so I want to kind of clarify something, because I think we have been following along this line of thought for a long time, but it has been in error. And I think that's because some people were trying to maintain a certain level of control over other people, namely men over women. And so I think that now is the time, and there's no better time than now, to clarify what it truly means to express yourself as a man. But first, I want to start off with a quote from a brother, our ancestor, Malcolm X, who gave so much wisdom and jewels that we could literally have a podcast series just for that. But we're not. We're just going to speak this quote. So it goes, "There's no better teacher than adversity. Every defeat, every heartbreak, every loss contains its own seed, its own lesson on how to improve your performance the next time." And I brought that up because this show, Intelligentlemen, is talking about how to become a better man. That's part of it. And I talked about this in one of my other podcasts as well, the experience of life, which teaches you and it enables you to grow into becoming a better man. That is the purpose. And that's what happens if you utilize it for that purpose. And so I thought that quote would be fitting. But talking about expression and talking about our brother Malcolm X, he expressed himself. He always expressed himself. He expressed his thoughts, his feelings on topics, on things that were going on in the community with no fear. So let's just think about that for a second. Well, we're going to traverse these topics and we're going to keep that in mind. So I also want to kind of bring to your attention that expression of manhood transcends dogma, rhetoric, and it emanates from within. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with what you believe and where you're from. It transcends that. No matter where you go, no matter what you believe, the elements of becoming a man and being a man are generally the same. And so when you look at it from that perspective, you understand that These are universal principles that just apply to reality itself and what we experience as reality, right? This includes the spiritual, because the spirit is part of that. But it emanates from within. So what does that mean? We were talking about in other podcasts, positive thinking and positive values and all of these things within you. And now we're talking about the expression which manifests itself outside of you. And so that's how it expresses, right? All of those positive thoughts, positive values come out in a positive expression. And it can be in a lot of different ways, right? And we'll talk about some of that. But the main thing to understand first is that your expression comes from within. It comes from within you. And if there's something that's blocking or keeping you from expressing yourself, then that's something you have to deal with within yourself. Because a man should be able to express himself and express himself in a way that's clear and that is free from any hate or any negative emotions. And that is definitely necessary because you don't want it to cause you to come across the wrong way. But a man who strives for perfection is a man who is on his path. And you're going to make mistakes. But you always want to do what you need to do and push yourself further. But you don't want to lay back and just wallow in your mistakes. Okay, that's not how you do it. And as Malcolm X said it, each adversity, defeat, heartbreak, loss is a lesson. And it can improve your performance the next time. But you got to reflect on it, and you got to take time to reflect on it so that you can really get the seed and you can really get the lesson. And what do seeds produce? Seeds produce fruit, right? And so expression is the fruit, right, of your manhood, of those positive thoughts and positive values, right? Expression is a fruit of that. And I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. I only fear God. And so I don't feel like I have to lie to people. That's spirituality. That's me understanding the dynamic between my fellow man. I don't look up to him and I don't look down on him. I look at him for exactly who he is. So that enables me to be honest. I don't have to lie to you. And again, and I want to stress the fact that you can make mistakes, but you always want to remember that within yourself, you have to be honest. You got to be able to tell yourself that was a mistake, and that will help you to go back and correct it, right? So try your best. Don't get stuck in one place trying to make amends. Keep trying and keep moving forward. Okay? That expression is an outward expression. It emanates from within you, and it goes out into the world. Now we're talking about action. Expression is action, right? So now we're getting into the verbs, right? Now we're getting into the movement. It's not just about talking about it. It's not just about thinking about it. It's about acting on it as well. That's part of spirituality. One of the things that I do, I go out into the community and I mentor, and I like to teach computer science skills to kids on up into adults. And This helps to economically empower our communities. And so that's part of my expression, my manifestation of my manhood, because those are the skills that I learned. I put time and resources into to learn. I became an IT support specialist, an IT admin, project manager, and I became all of these things through my own process of growth and learning. And so with that, I put it back into the community so that they can benefit for it. And that's a form of my expression. But next, we're going to talk about some more acts that a man expresses when he truly understands what a man is. Acts of kindness. Acts of kindness. It could be random or it could be planned, but it doesn't have to be pointed towards a specific person either. It could be pointed at anybody from your family, in your community, anywhere. It's just acts of kindness. I was looking on Facebook, and one of my Facebook friends said that somebody paid for her tea, and she was going through some things. So it meant a lot to her, right? So love, acts of love. You do things because you love a person. You may sacrifice some of your time, some of your resources to a person because you love them. And key word, a person, people. We're talking about relationships between people. Because anything you do for a material thing does not hold the same value. And it should not hold the same value as it does as if you do it for a person, right? Why? Because that is not the relationship between material and man. That relationship is tool-user, right? I used to tell people all the time, anything in this universe other than life is made for the benefit of life, right? Made to be used by life to improve life, right? So, you talk about elements, you talk about, any type of basic building blocks that you can think of. They're made for you to use to express who you are as a man or as a woman. And those are the tools for that, right? That's what that's for. So let's not get caught up in things, because that's just a way to express yourself. That's why people say it's the thought that counts. You see? That's why people say that. Because it's not the material thing. It's the expression. Because it comes from within and it emanates outward as an expression. And loyalty. Woo, loyalty is a big word. What is loyalty? Everybody knows what loyalty is. But when it comes down to it, some people don't know how to express loyalty. But when you're a man and you understand that, you do express loyalty. In personal relationships, you may have an understanding with, your woman that you don't go outside of that relationship, right? That's loyalty, right? You have loyalty to that person. You can have loyalty to your friends, where you don't do anything to harm them. You don't do anything or make any decisions that would harm them. And that's another thing. In my relationships, I talk about this while I'm in my relationship. I'm saying that I do what I do because I want to do it, because of who I am. I don't do it because I'm trying to look a certain way. I'm not doing it because that's what people say it should be done. It's an expression of myself. So if I'm trying to make my partner secure and I'm trying to make her feel secure, I do that naturally. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to think about if I'm in a situation where there's a suspicious, or it's a suspicious situation where, there's a girl and it could be looked at as there's something going on, right? I take myself out of that. And that's how I express myself, because I have that understanding. So when I see that and I feel that that's what the situation is, right? So I act on it. It's not a thought. So that's loyalty. Responsibility. One of my mentors would always say in the classes that we would be having with the fatherhood program, and we would talk about these things, and we would say, as a man, you're born with responsibility. It's not a choice, right? Responsibility is not a choice. When you have kids, it's not a choice as to whether or not you're going to take care of them. Your family, it's not a choice. It's your responsibility. So there's a difference, right? You act on your responsibilities as a man. And that manifests itself, in that way. Humility is another one. Being humble, knowing that I'm not better than nobody and they ain't better than me. But I'm going to maintain my cool, my composure, because I know that, especially when you're talking about dealing with other people, I know that I have been where they may be. And on my journey through manhood, I'm still learning. And so I have to always remain humble. Because ultimately, that's an expression of my manhood. And also, you should have a sensitivity about things. As a man, you should be sensitive. That's right. I'm saying it to y'all. You should be sensitive as a man. A lot of people have a misconception like men are not supposed to be sensitive. But yes, we got feelings and we are sensitive. We are sensitive, and you should be sensitive. If somebody's doing something bad to somebody, you should be sensitive to that. If your woman comes up to you and she's having a bad day, you should be sensitive about that. But some people have a misconception about that. So I just wanted to kind of, illustrate some of the ways that people have a misconception, as well as what a man should be sensitive about. Right? Sometimes we might not say anything. Sometimes we keep it in because we don't try to add any pressure to the situation. But we are sensitive. We have feelings and things affect us too. And if we're doing something, we're putting our time and our effort into it, and we're very sensitive to how appreciative they are to that. And we should be sensitive to how appreciative we are to them. So it's a two-way street, and you should always keep in mind that you should be sensitive to. And patience. Oh man, that's big. Patience. I try to model myself on that. I try to have the most patience of anybody in any situation. I try to be the most patient. I try to stretch my patience to the limit. I literally and often try to stretch my patience, because it's a practice, and in order to master it, you have to practice it, because it's one of those things where you have to become mindful of it in order for you to be able to control it. And meditation helps you with that. This is Intelligentleman, Thank you for listening and stay tuned.
Meditation really helps with that. It helps you to be patient with yourself, and it helps you become patient with other people. And you become patient with what's happening, and you know that it's a process. And if you express yourself properly, you become a part of that process to heal the world and help that change along, right? And help develop the world into becoming a better place of being the change that you want to see in the world. But you got to be patient with yourself too. Respect is a big one too. It's big, because if you can't respect yourself, then you will never respect other people. That's where it starts. It emanates from within. So you have to respect yourself. You have to respect yourself enough to say no sometimes, right? No, I don't want to be a part of that. No, I don't want to do that. No, I'm not going to accept disrespect, right? Because I know what it is. I know you don't respect yourself. And it's not because I feel like you're disrespecting me. It's because I know that you disrespect yourself, and I'm not going to let you do that. And I'm not going to be the vehicle for you to do it. Okay? Because I want better for you, just like I want better for myself. You see how all these things tie into each other? Into how inside of you everything manifests itself outside, which is a key. Y'all got to keep that in focus. And see, that's just a few things, right? Of a few outward expressions of a man, right? But we're not going to stay there too long. And if you want to talk more about other aspects of manhood that are expressed outwardly, please join us on our Facebook page, and we'll spark up a conversation about that there. And we'll put a post up after the show. And so, you can post it there so we can, conversate about that. But since manhood is from the inside out, in order to know of its existence in a male's life, because you're a male until you become a man, and this is another quote that I'm going to read to you. Being a male is a matter of birth. Being a man is a matter of choice. And it's just that simple. Being a male is a matter of birth, and being a man is a matter of choice. And wow, that statement speaks volumes, right? But in order to know of its existence in a male's life, it must be expressed outwardly. Thus, manhood is expressive, right? When a transformation happens, it becomes expressive. It expresses itself out into the world. Before that, it's internal, right? You're internally trying to, get these values and get your mind right, get your positive thinking on, and internally, you having these battles, and a lot of times you keep it in yourself and not really express it outwardly. But then there comes a time where you do express it outwardly. And that's where, if it's positive and it follows the values of what a man is, that is the transformation from being a male to a man. So let's talk about that for a minute. Males versus men. You become a man once you have started to embody these values, these thoughts, and they're positive and that's when you know that you have transformed from male to man. And that's where the expression happens. And so you can't put a time frame on it. There's still people who, still haven't made that transformation because they haven't really grasped the concept. So they haven't transformed into this. So that's how we really have to start thinking about this. How do we get from male to man? And it's a journey. It's a journey because you can always become a better man. And the best way to do that is to speak with other people and align yourself with people who are already doing that. Right? That's why when doing things like this and mentoring out in the community is so important, because there's no way that some of these children will be exposed to that because they don't have that in their own lives. That's why us as men have to go out into the communities to make sure we express it so that they also can see it and learn it and become an expression of manhood as well. And as a man, all children are your children. It's not just the children that you help to bring into this world. All children are your children, and you treat them the same. You protect, you love, you want what's best for them. You want to try to help and provide for them. They're all your responsibility. It's not just your children. But what does that mean? What does that look like? Are you saying that I got to go out and just do? No, you can adopt. There's a lot of ways to express that. You can adopt kids. You can go out and mentor. You can go out and you can teach. You can go out and you can, just put your time and your resources to economically empower your communities to essentially provide places and means to economically empower them, which economically empowers the children. So yes, you are taking care of them. Does that look the same as if you were taking care of them in your immediate family? No. But it's still the same. It's still the same. It's still the same thought. It's still the same value behind it. It's still the same expression of manhood. Okay. And see, that's what it's all about. As a man, expressing yourself and expressing these values out into the world, and not being forced to do it, and not feeling like, I got to do this because somebody wants me to know. It's a great feeling to go out and help people, to go out and to have a positive impact. So if you don't feel that, then there's something inside of you that you have to address, that you have to tackle for you to align with that energy, and everybody is different. So everybody won't express it the same exact way. Like I was saying earlier, you can mentor, you can start a business, you can be a teacher, you can do all these things and express yourself and have the same effect. It's expression, right? It's how a man expresses himself. And that's what we're really trying to hone in on, so that you really get that from this episode, in that a man expresses himself. A man is not afraid to say, I love you. I love each and every one of you. I love all my supporters, my fans. I love my community. I love my family. I love you all. And I just want to thank all of you again for the contributions and the likes and the listens to all of my podcasts, and liking the Facebook page and sharing the things that we're really trying to put out there. I really want to thank you for that, because without that, then we don't have what we need in this world, which is real men and women expressing themselves and making a difference. because that's what it's all about. And don't let nobody tell you different. And again, my name is Milt Walker, and this has been Intelligentleman Expression. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. Take care. Bye.